All right. So let's make a couple of important points. You see, if the first important point I would like to emphasize on is that if between two events order is possible, then it is considered automatically in multiplication. What I mean to say is, suppose you have a container and there are four objects in that container. Okay. Now, and the question is, find the number of ways of drawing two objects. Okay. Now you see, suppose event E1 is take out first object and event E2 is take out second object. All right. So basically what we want is event E1 and event E2. This will give us the number of ways of drawing two objects. All right. Now you see, for event E1, the number of ways of drawing the first object is 4, right? You can select any of one of the 4 objects, T1, T2, T3 or T4. And for event E2, the number of ways is 3, because one after there are 3 remaining options. Okay. Now you see, so by the fundamental principle of counting, you would argue that the total number of ways is 12. Well and good. But you see, suppose one of the outcomes is T1 and T2. That is, suppose you draw the first object that you take out is T1, and after that you take out T2. That is one case. Another case that is possible is that the first object that you take out is T2 and the second object that you take out is T1. Okay. So basically the point is that ordering is included in the final answer obtained after multiplication. Okay. Now if the question is find number of ways of drawing two objects, then it would be just 12 upon 2 equal to 6, because ordering is not important as per the question. It does not matter which object you take out first. Okay. So what you want is, you just want to select two objects from the container. So ordering is irrelevant there, and later on in combinations we will study this thing, that in case of combinations, while we select a certain number of objects from a given set of objects, in that case selection involves there is no concept of ordering when we select objects. Okay. Ordering is relevant only in case of permutations, and we will discuss what permutations and combinations are in much greater detail. But for now, the important point that you should remember is that in the fundamental principle of counting, when we multiply, ordering, if at all it is possible, it is always included in the final answer. Okay. Moving on, we have something known as the bijection rule. The bijection rule says is number of favorable ways of occurrence of an event. This is nothing, this is just pure common sense, nothing else. It is just, an alternative to solving questions. Sometimes their direct computation may not be possible, so this is another way of solving questions, and we will see a lot of examples of this. So number of favorable ways of occurrence of an event is equal to total number of ways minus unfavorable ways. So that is the bijection rule. Okay, this is point number 2. The third point that I would like to mention is that till now we have been saying that in the fundamental principle of counting, you have events E1 till En, okay, and event E1 can happen in M1 ways, event E2 can happen in M2 ways, mutually exclusive ways, En can happen in Mn, mutually exclusive ways, and together they can happen in, so the fundamental principle of counting says that if E1 till En are independent events, then all of them together can happen in M1 into M2 into Mn ways. Alright, but the question is, now what if the events are not independent? Okay, what if the choice that you make in E2 depends on what you have chosen in E1? What if that begins to happen? Let's take an example. Okay, suppose you have destination A, destination B, and destination C. Okay, and suppose from A to B you can go by road 1, then you can go by road 2, you can go by train 1, or you can go by plane, which let's say denoted by A1. And from B to C, suppose you can go by road 1 dash, road 2 dash. Okay, let me just, let's say T1 train T1 dash, T2 dash, and let's say A2 A1 dash. Okay, suppose we have the following situation and we want to go from A to C via B. All right. Okay, now if no condition is imposed, then by fundamental principle of counting, you have 4 ways of going from A to B and you have 4 ways of going from B to C. So in total there are 16 ways. But now suppose in this example, if I impose the additional condition that the same mode of transport is not allowed. Okay, so this is my additional condition. The same mode of transport is not allowed. That is, now event E1 and E2. E1 is the event which is going from A to B, and event E2 is going from B to C. Okay, E1 is A to B and E2 is B to C. Now as soon as I impose this condition, same mode of transport is not allowed, then you can clearly see that now the events are not at all independent. They are no more independent, because if you choose to go from A to B by, let's say, road 1, okay, then from B to C, now you cannot choose R1 dash. Okay, you only have 3 options: T1 dash, T2 dash, and A1 dash. So pay attention here. What we are saying is the choice that we are making from going from A to B, it directly affects the choice that we will make for going from B to C. Okay, so in that sense the events are not independent anymore. You see, originally what we had, the situation was something like this, that no matter what choice you made here from going from A to B, no matter what choice you made, it did not affect the choice that you made for going from B to C. Okay, so that was in that sense these two events were independent. But now if you choose to go from A to B via, let's say, road 1, then you cannot go by road from B to C. So you only have 3 choices. So the choice that you are making from B to C, now if it is affected by the choice that you have made for the previous event. Okay, so what to do in such cases? Well, if the events are not independent, then make mutually exclusive cases. Okay, so suppose if we were to solve this question, then how would we proceed? Now you see, in that case we make mutually exclusive cases. So case 1, let's say from A to B road is used. Okay, now event E1 is going from A to B, then how many ways are there? If you look at this diagram, there are two ways because there are two roads, so 2. And for event E2, which is going from B to C, how many options do you have? You have 3 options. Okay, so number of ways of going from A to C via B for case 1 is 2 into 3 equal to 6. Okay, and case 2 is, let's say from going from A to B, train is used. Okay, now note that in case 1, when I said that from A to B road is used, as soon as I put this condition, then event E1 and E2 become independent. Okay, you see, now from A to B you have 2 options, and from B to C you can choose any of these 3 options, T1 dash, T2 dash and or A1 dash. Okay, now it doesn't matter which choice you make, for event 2 or now what I mean to say is, you see, once you have said that from A to B road is to be used, okay, so there are 2 possible ways of going from A to B, that is via road 1 and road 2. Now for making a choice for going from B to C, you can choose either T1 dash, T2 dash or A1 dash. It doesn't matter what choice of road you make now. Okay, so that is, in that sense, now event E1 and E2 are independent. Now similarly, if from going from A to B train is used, then your event E1 is, how many possible ways are there? There is one way, right? Because there is just one train, T1. Okay, and for E2 you would have, which is going from B to C, you will have 2 ways. So for case 2 you have 1 into 2 equal to 2 possible ways. Okay, similarly in case 3, if plane is used, then for event E1 you have 1 way, and for event E2 you have 3 possible choices. So in total you will have 1 into 3 equal to 3 possible ways of going from A to C. You see, event E1 is plane, so that means A1 is used, that is E1 has 1 choice, and B to C will have 3 choices, R1 dash, T1 dash and T2 dash. Okay, so total will be then sum of case 1, case 2 and case 3, which is 6 plus 2 plus 3, which is 11. Okay, now you see, why did we add all of these? You know, some students might say that why didn't we multiply? Well, you see, these are mutually exclusive cases. The whole event, see, case 1 is going from A to C, case 2 is going from A to C, case 3 is again going from A to C. Now these are all mutually exclusive cases. Okay, now a lot of books, what they call this, this is known as something as the addition principle. Okay, that is sometimes stated as the first principle of counting, which is the addition rule. So whenever you have different mutually exclusive cases, then the cases have to be added up, right? So you have 11 possible cases. Okay, don't multiply them. These are not simultaneous events. That is the whole thing. You can either have case 1, okay, you can either have case 1, either case 1 or case 2 or case 3. You know, it is not possible that case 1 can happen together with case 2 and case 2 can happen together with case 3. That's why we are not multiplying. This is not and, this is or. Okay, so we have 11 cases. So there are 11 options for going from A to C. All right. So I'll continue in the next lecture. So see you then.